Ladies and gentlemen, may I direct your attention to something quite extraordinary.
You are listening to
Kayak Adventure Series.
Kayak Adventure Series. This is where you choose your own adventure. You want to be offshore, you want to be shallow, you want to go up the
You
creek,
want to have a kayak that is sophisticated.
or a kayak that is simple.
You get to choose your own adventure.
Oh, looky there. That's a micro bag. I hope you brought the family. This is going to be wild. Hey, this adventure is going to be amazing.
All right. What's up, Jake?
Nothing.
I thought you were behind that
Survive
graphic.
in the storm.
Couldn't tell, but I knew you're back there somewhere. Wow, what a cool intro, man. Whoa, what is this? Got
Yeah,
Nakwa stuff at the bottom. It's a lot of Nakwa here to begin. Hey, I like that last video we just shared. Thanks for everyone joining, by the way. Dude, that was like, this sounded like you could go to sleep to that. You know what I mean? The water just, there was no
ASMR.
Yeah, it was like a white noise machine, just just go to sleep to just the kayak moving on the water. That was great. Hey guys, welcome to the show. It's gonna be a good one today. We actually we were gonna do a Paris Real Fest preview show, but some of the folks we really wanted on in that area of the country, they're getting hit pretty hard by some cold weather coming up. They're kind of battening down the hatches, so to speak. So
We got about 24 inches outside my window, it feels like.
that's crazy. Yeah, we've got maybe a foot here or 10 inches, something like that, in Northeast Ohio. So it's full winter mode for everyone, which is a good time to be doing podcasts like this and obviously like talking about the events, getting excited, because if we can't go fishing, might as well be talking fishing. Today's show. First of all, thank you to Nakwa for all those cool ads and what you guys are doing for the series this year. Shout out Steve Baker. If you saw his post with Nakwa, he went and bought all the stuff. He's ready to go to win that Nakwa Power Bonus and all of the contingency prizes and bonuses, which we're still finalizing. We're trying to get more manufacturers of kayaks to like Blake from New Canoe said last week, to give us their final bonuses, what you're going to do. We're going to put it all on the website on one page. So you guys can all understand and see how to win extra prizes or cash through those contingency programs. But shout out to Raccoon Creek Outfitters, the presenting sponsor of the podcast. Raccoon Creek, appreciate you guys as always. As you can tell, the logo stays up there in that top right corner. Which I believe, by the way, speaking, nice little transition here, Dustin Hoy at Raccoon Creek Outfitters and the whole team there, they are now a Nakwa dealer as well. So you can get your Nakwa stuff straight from them. And a little birdie told me that if you want to get into that Nakwa Power Bonus at each event, you might even be able to buy some Nakwa stuff at the events at the registration day. You know what I mean? That opening ceremonies and registration where you can get those awesome Kayak Adventure Series merch, the hats and stuff like that as well. Now you can buy your Nakwa stuff. Again, $30, $40 battery pack. There's the hats you can buy. But after registration, boom, you buy the Nakwa stuff. You're qualified to win the extra $1,000 of cash and prizes from Nakwa in that power bonus. And of course, it's gonna be the best thing to run your GoPro or action camera all day anyway. So and you can get it there from, I believe, through Raccoon Creek at the event. So that's kind of cool. But today's show, Jake, here's what we're gonna do. I know you and I have talked about this, but everybody, here's what we're gonna do. Share this if you want. The more people on live, the better. We're gonna go over the 2025 rule changes because we've made them on the website. We've highlighted them in red, so you don't have to reread the entire rules, of course. And obviously, some of them are even addressing some of the more recent, situations, if you want to call them that, in kayak fishing that, kind of need to be defined a little bit clearer in the rules anyway, based on
Well,
the
the
situation.
sport evolves every year, right? So
Yeah.
like we've seen new kayaks come out. Like the XTR is out.
Right.
We've always had some pretty big kayaks, which is going to be a main thing we're talking about, is just like kayak sizes and stuff like that. But the sport always evolves. There's always something. Like
Oh yeah.
I know Drew was heavily involved in the extra motor debate. So
True. We're going to talk about all that stuff, then how we're addressing them. And then we're also going to, maybe at the beginning, top of the show, Jake, you and I can just sort of quickly give our take, and you might be able to even clip this and put it on the website. We're going to just define and say, you've never fished Kayak Adventure Series before, because I know we've got a lot of new people this year. There's some national trails like the Hobie, and I know KBF's Trail Series is no more. There's some that aren't there anymore, so we might have some new anglers this year, some new faces. And I get questions and DMs and all this all the time, like, about this or that. Is what is this Kayak Adventure Series? And let's just we'll quickly start off the show by defining it. Like, what is it? If I had to give someone the quick, I know on the website you can actually click on kayakadventureseries.com and click on about. And I actually changed, I went and reread, just like the rules. I reread many of the pages on the website lately and have changed anything that needs to get a little bit tweaked or updated. I've done that. So you can read what it's about, but we're just going to do it right here on a live, talk about what is it. If I just share it real quick with somebody, so we can hopefully clip this, like I said, and put it on the website, and you can share it with your friends and say, this is what the Kayak Adventure Series is about, in like 5-10 minutes, explain it. And then boom, they don't have to listen to a whole hour-long podcast to get the info. So, and then we're going to do the rules. We're going to go over the rules. I'm going to pull up the website, and we're going to scroll down and basically just kind of hit the highlights of all the rules that are highlighted in red that got changed or tweaked or something new was added. So, yeah, there we go. Dustin Hoy in the chat there. Nice. So, and yeah, you might have to help me on the comments here. Oh, what's up? Metal Jones, Zach from Dark Horse Tackle in the house, that coming in strong with Dark Horse again this year as well. That's going to be pretty cool. Doing some extra stuff. Zach's always working on something cool. Zach and Josh, they both.
Yeah, we've got some cool ideas with Dark Horse too, I think, for the event, each event. Something that I think will be cool. So
yeah, very cool. There's a lot of stuff we're trying to do, but we're also we've also streamlined things too. So we're trying not to add too much unless it really moves the needle for you guys and it makes it more fun and more exciting. So that kind of segues me into, why Fish Kayak Adventure Series? What essentially is it, right? And at the end of the day, this kind of actually ties into what I wanted to do that one live. Jake, remember that state of the KAS address I wanted to do?
Yeah.
This kind of falls into that. And so essentially we just want the best time for everybody involved. Only one person will win, like big time cash and prizes, right? Most people are not going to, come away profitable. You're doing this like our buddy Ken Morris has always said. He contributes and fishes tournaments like he looks at it like joining a rec basketball league. Okay, you pay your entry fee. You don't really win any money in a rec basketball league. It's just for exercise and fun. So he puts his money in because there's more on the line in a tournament. It's fun, right? When there's more on the line, you could win some money. But the reality is, it's one or two or three people are really going to actually make an actual profit once you add in all the travel, the lodging, the gas, the food, everything. I guess you got to eat at home anyway, but still, you get what I'm saying. You add it all up, not many people are making a profit. So in the Kayak Adventure Series, we wanted to come up with a trail that was like, well, how can everyone still really have fun, feel like they've won big, because we've created this like sort of a fellowship, a series that focuses on the fellowship and the camaraderie and all the other aspects besides just the couple, 2, 3 that are going to actually make a profit. So that's kind of what it is. It's a little bit of a boondoggle meets tournament.
Memory profits, right? Like you're profiting by good memories,
Yes.
good time.
Yes, your memory profiting. Yeah, investing in your life here on this planet that God has given us all to. And Lord knows the world is pretty messed up right now. If you're on social media, there's a lot going on, and this is an outlet, to get away from some of that stuff and develop those friendships that when life hits the fan, right? When things really hit the fan, you've got some what I would call a family of people to like bond with that you got to know through this series that are probably like-minded, similar minded as you are. So it kind of fits. So basically here's how it works. Let's run through a kayak adventure series tournament. Okay. Our rules are very different. The format's different, and it's made to really highlight all styles of kayak fishing, the variety of different kayaks, vessels, the variety and the differences in each of you, not just your watercraft, but each of you and your personalities and your style. So I fish differently. I'm spastic. I'm so just ADHD. I power fish. I fish rivers and skinny water, and I cover just 10, 20 miles in a day. And other people, are opposite, and their personalities are probably opposite as well, right? And they will just live scope or they'll use electronics. And we want to be inclusive of all styles, just like the UFC is inclusive of all styles of fighters, right? Jiu-jitsu, taekwondo, wrestling, boxing, whatever. But you all come into one octagon and battle it out, and it makes it exciting because there's variety, which is, I think personally, is kind of lacking in our bass boat friends world right now. It's not as much variety. You're kind of winning in mainly one way. Most events these days, it's with electronics, particularly live scope. But in our series, with our rules and our format, where we allow anglers to, fish and launch and take out, of course, up rivers, creeks, backwaters, and of course use the electronics and the motors and all the nice creature comforts we have these days on boats, and which is really what we're fishing out of, these mini little boats, tiny boats. So we're kind of like including all these styles, and we allow people to portage, and if they don't feel comfortable going under a log or over, or getting their kayak over it or a rapid. So it just really it brings we feel like a level playing field and a fairness to the sport of kayak fishing, where we don't know how it's going to get won. We don't know if it's going to be, and again, if you're in the money, if you cash checks, you're kind of considered in fishing a winner, right? You won, right? You got in the top 15% in our series, but we don't know if that top 15% is, in the first place person in particular, is going to come from. It's very unpredictable. A river, a main lake, using electronics, and not a little small pond in a wildlife management area that maybe is in bounds, which has happened before. And it creates a new puzzle, a new game. And it's cool because we're unlimited in the amount of places we can go around this country, and tours and apartments and cities we can work with. We are no longer confined by the certain number of playing fields. You know what I mean? It's not like, like some sports are very limited to where they can happen, surfing, snowboarding, fishing. But we in the bass boat world and fishing in the past have always been really, really like just confined to these like 40 lakes around the country. And that's it. Well, we're making a new game, a new puzzle, a new playing field where you guys have to solve this puzzle by fishing within an hour radius of our host city and theater. And you can choose the rivers, lakes, the creeks, the places, like you said, Jake, that are ponds that are in bounds. If it's a wildlife management area or somewhere like that we have allowed in bounds, and you can see all that, the inbounds water, our legal waters, are listed on the website as well, each tournament page. So now it's cool because, people that have history on all these big bodies of water that get all the attention, they don't have that advantage at Kayak Adventure Series. You might have local clubs that fish some of these lakes, obviously, and some people have fished them. It's not like no one's ever been in a kayak ever, but they've never been in a tournament that has that lake that they may have fished before, a couple lakes or rivers in play with these other 5 or 6. You know what I mean? So it's like, do they really know what would win in this case? And it's cool because it creates a lot of fun for you guys because you get to figure out over the winter, for example, like right now, there's a lot of online scouting and research and Googling and YouTubing, and it's fun. That's like, dude, tell me, Jake, I mean, tell me if it's not true. Okay, let me back you up. Let's back Jake up to his days with when he's courting his wife. It was almost more fun that anticipation and leading up to all that, Jake, was probably just as good as that first kiss, right? Just that build up and that excitement. And it took a long time to convince her, I'm sure. But
I feel like she did the online scouting with me in this scenario. That's like
that's the way everyone dates these days, right? It's all online,
Yeah.
like it's all like apps and online. But anyway, back in the day when you had to really work hard, the anticipation and leading up to those first dates, those first moments were really like just as exciting as the actual like first kiss or whatever. And that's kind of what we're doing for you guys here. It's like you guys have a lot to research and figure out and learn. It's a fun game, a fun puzzle to figure out.
I feel like everybody has gotten on Google Maps and looked at a lake and said, like, what if? Oh, like, oh, this area looks really good. Like, we were looking at some random lake the other day, me and you, and I'm just like, we'll probably, maybe KS will go there, but I don't know if, Bassmaster probably won't go there, or any of the other trails. And it's just like, I've already looked at Havasu. I'm not going to Havasu, but I've looked at it and I'm like, well, this is where I might fish. So it's fun to think, what if, it's like, what if I just went here? Do you think I could catch fish? And like, it's just the excitement of exploring new areas for me. And I think that kind of sums up KS, not to mention that you don't have to win the main tournament to be a winner, right?
Yes.
Like we have a ton of extra stuff in KS, like micro bag, the team event. We've got all these like side prizes and stuff for, fun little categories. So like, I think that is like something that often gets overlooked is just how much you can come to one of these events and have fun in so many different ways. Like, I think the micro bag is like a prime example because that did a lot better than I think either of us ever imagined.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the 5 smallest fish, minimum of 5 inches. You guys can check out the rules, is what Jake's referring to. We call it the micro bag. So it's a little insurance policy. Maybe Robert Weicker said that one time. Excuse me, I'm still getting over something. But it's a mini insurance policy. If you're not hitting it off, catching the biggest fish, of the day, then you could switch and just go to the 5 smallest.
Or
and now
the
you're
other
still,
way.
or the other way, yeah. Or
because that happened at Ozarkana.
That is true.
He was micro bagging and he caught a 17 and a half. And he's like, wait a second, I could still be in this. And he caught it on like a little big crappie jig.
Yeah. So it works either way. And it gives you it. We just don't want people to have to like just trunk slam and leave because it's not going good, because there's no reason to. We've got, a festival, and we have these cool awards that are held in these awesome historic theaters in these towns. So you got air conditioning and a comfortable seat and food and drinks, and just a true stage to stand on with lights on you. And I know for some that might be a little intimidating, but I'm on stage emceeing. We keep it light. We keep it fun. It's not too tough. You might have to sit in the kayak cushion hot seat for a few minutes if you're in the lead, but we don't have you up there too long. And then we'll get you off the stage.
We've learned on that.
We've learned on that. Yeah, we learned. We don't want to have everyone standing up there for 20 minutes. We'll bring you up. We bring everyone up in random order. You don't really know who's going to win. We shut the leaderboards off, which we'll get into that later with the rules. It's just a different experience that you can, again, I want to keep this section of our show fairly short so you guys can share this. We can clip it. But the lay of a KAS weekend, just how we've done it. So, it's very different. We want to intentionally make sure we're very different from the Bassmaster Kayak Series and, Native Power Hour or whatever the national trails out there are now. And we feel like we are, of course. And we don't ever we want to be like, like an addition to those, a positive, not a competitor. And I'm in communication with those other tournament directors. They're all great people doing great things, working hard. And I think that we got a good little thing going on here at the kayak fishing world nationally with what we have going on and the other series. So here's how it goes. Okay. We hold our events on Friday and Saturday, Friday afternoon and Saturday. It's a day and a half. First thing you're going to say, why in the world Friday? That's crazy. It's a weekday. It's tough. Well, first of all, you don't want to drive to these cool destinations, as Jake's talking about, these adventures, these cool places. What if we don't want to send you these incredible destinations and fisheries that we've picked out just on my time on this earth? I've been blessed to travel and fish a lot of these or know about them and have figured out a way now, right? A format that they can be utilized in a tournament setting, giving you a reason to go there, to cross it off the bucket list and have some cool experiences. So we basically we knew people wanted more than a day to fish. Just Saturday feels like not enough. But Saturday, Sunday, the problem is Sunday, you got to get back to work on Monday. And Monday is the more important work day of the week than Friday. So we said, well, hey, if you're in the money and you want to come back to the awards on a Sunday tournament, or even if you're not, by the time you get off the water and you hit the road, it's 4 or 5 p.m. And if you live 10, 12, 15 hours away, you're taking off Monday off work. There's no way. You have to take off Monday anyway. It's easier for people to actually get Friday off work. And what this allows us to do is start our opening ceremonies on Thursday. Thursday, we kick off this cool last minute registrations, check-in. We have fun, food, drinks, games, usually at a brewery or a restaurant or a park, food trucks. It's fun. Just a good time. Okay. Fellowship. But here's the beauty now, because our tournament doesn't start till Friday afternoon. There's no reason to run home, try to get to bed early because you got to wake up early, because you don't. There's no pre-fishing allowed on Friday. What we instead have is you sleep in. Doesn't matter if you're up till 1 a.m. pushing each other in the bushes because you had a little too much. Okay. That's then you sleep in. You come to something called the Bass U Brunch on Fridays, where I bring in pros, myself, other kayak pros or bass boat pros. This year we'll have some on the Elite Series pros and other folks. They will speak to you guys while you eat, and recover with a nice breakfast, right? Nice big breakfast will provide you guys. That's from 10 to 12:30 typically. At 12:30, we will give you guys the identifier code for your identifiers that you got at check-in. You'll write them on there, and then you head out to fish, and you can start fishing at 3 to 7. It's an afternoon session. It's called our afternoon sesh. Typically, you can get on the water. I think you have to check each rules page, but we try to keep it consistent. You can get on the water at 2:30, start fishing at 3. So it's because
we did have to tweak it later in the season. But
yeah, we did.
Otherwise,
but it's basically about right. Yeah. So then it's cool because you can also fish on a weekday when there's less boat traffic and public traffic. And most people, like I said, Friday is a little easier to get off. If you live 2, 3, 4 hours away, you can pre-fish the weekends prior. So you don't actually have to take off any time, or maybe just a half day on Friday or a whole day. But if you live far away, like any big national trail that has a Saturday, Sunday tournament, you're going to be taking that week off of work, or at least 3 days or something, to get Thursday and Friday to practice, right? And you're driving Wednesday, so maybe you're taking those days off anyway. So if you're local, you can pre-fish the weekends before. We allow 4 practice days within 2 weeks of the tournament. So 2 Fridays prior, you get 4 practice days to be on, and you can choose which days. So if you are 1, 2, 3, 4 hours away, just go fish on the weekend. Don't waste your work, vacation days. And then if you live far away, obviously take your vacation and then fish that week. So, but anyway, Friday afternoon, you fish the afternoon. So there's the brunch, Bass U Brunch there. We held that one at Wilderness Fishing Game in Wisconsin. So it's a good time. Some great speakers. There's Christine speaking at this one here. Josh Shrinko, Jeff Little spoke at that one as well. And then the afternoon sesh is cool because this tournament, guys, is just 5 fish over the course of 2 days, just 5. So the day and a half. So even if you miss Friday, it's okay. You can go Saturday and catch 5 fish and win. Or if you have a bad day on Friday, you make a bad decision, you're kind of new or intermediate beginner angler and you just chose the wrong spot. Well, no worries. You don't have to just slam the trunk and go home, because it's not 5 fish each day. Because obviously if you zero or you catch 2 fish and everyone else has 80, 90 inches, you're not winning. You might as well just go home. At some tournaments, there's no other reason to stick around. Well, this one, no. All you got to do is fish again on Saturday, make a better decision, learn from those mistakes. We're trying to help you guys become better anglers and learn, and then go out, fish, catch 5 big ones, which happened a lot this last year. Sometimes the all winning 5 fish were caught on Saturday. So even if you miss Friday, no worries. You can still be there Saturday.
Some people caught all their fish on Friday too. It's like
that's true.
It can happen. A give and take.
It can happen. And it creates a cool new strategy. Friday allows you to fish an evening bite, which is not normal in a tournament. Not only is it a weekday, it's an afternoon, it's an evening. It's kind of cool to have this little, new little nuance in there. It's 4 hours. So you can't do some long 12-mile river float. You got to be strategic about how you're going to use that Friday. And then Saturday, you got all day until 3. Tournament times are listed on each tournament page. All day till 3. And then we have our festival, which kicks off around 3 to 5:30ish. 5:30, we tell everyone wrap up. Let's go into the theater. Let's walk in there. And at most festivals, it's the same thing: food, music, games. Kayak companies are there, manufacturers or dealers. You got demos whenever there's water there. We're going to do kayak demos. Toyota trucks are usually there. Every stop they were there, they sponsor us with their bonus bucks program. You can check out their trucks. A lot of just fun stuff happening, right? On family friendly bounce houses. Got a bounce house. Bring the kids. Bring the wife, the kids. So then go into the theater. We do the awards. That's a lot of fun. But here's the really cool thing. Yeah, not only was Thursday and Friday morning a great fellowship time and learning, Saturday is the awards. So guess what, guys? There's no reason to book it or not show up to these awards because it's just Saturday. You can drive home on Sunday. Instead, we all come back to the awards. We celebrate our friends who are receiving trophies and cash and prizes. And then we can hang out more, like go to somewhere in town. Like I said, a brewery or a restaurant, have dinner, have a fun time at the after party. And which, I think this year we might be calling it the Ashegan after party. And go kind of celebrate, all the fun. And then we'll just sleep in, drive home on Sunday. So there's some photos of what it looks like at the awards. And that's kind of it, man. Like you said, Jake, we have a team division. We have 5 smallest fish. We have other little categories. You guys can read more about that, about the format and whatnot. But crazy rule. Yeah, micro bag fish right there. The interesting rules, like you're allowed to troll in our tournaments. You're allowed to use 2 rods at one time. So if you have a big fish following the fish you're hooked up with, as long as it's legal in that state to use the second one. There, guys, that was a proud moment when I caught that fish, dude. My record. Wasn't that like a 5 on the dot or 5 1/4? It was like,
it was 5 on the dot. We worked pretty hard for that fish.
I worked hard for it. It's a challenge to get the micro bag. But anyway, Glenda is the micro queen. You guys got to knock her off this year. She's going to get a big head, or maybe
I'm going to answer this question real quick. Somebody asked if we're able to fish one lake in the morning, then switch lakes to finish if we're on tournament waters. Yeah. I mean, you can move in the actual tournament. Like, you can pack up and move to a new spot as long as it's legal water, Tons of people do that in all tournaments. If you go to a spot and I did it at lacrosse, I loaded up and went, 40 miles south. So a big move. So, I mean, you can do it as long as it's legal water.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, consider your vehicles like the outboard motor of a bass boat. Okay. They're now to get you within that 1 hour kind of zone to eligible water, load back up and move to another one. Now, it's not going to hit the same because that comment came up, but I was kind of trying to make a joke that someone's got to knock Glenda off or she's going to get a big head. But then I was like, or a small head, because micro bag division. So
my bad.
All right, anyway, no, you're good. You're good. But that is the KAS in a nutshell. We also, the last thing we haven't mentioned, and then we'll probably be able to move on to the rules, and you can cut this for folks to rewatch. It's very important to us that we give back to the communities and to nonprofits. And every year we raffle off either a kayak or some big ticket item at each event to raise money for a nonprofit. Last year that was, there's a kayak there. Last year it was pediatric cancer, and this year it is autism awareness through the Autism Anglers organization, 501c3. We had John on the show, great guy, and we will be, or Don, did I say Don or John? Okay, sorry, Don. I think it's Don. But either way, go check them out, Autism Anglers, great organization, and we're going to be raffling off kayaks and big ticket items to raise money for them in 2025. So that's exciting. And that's it in a nutshell. Come have fun with us, guys. There's definitely a lot of big money involved with the GoPro guarantee, $10,000 and $7,500 bonuses this year. So it's certainly a tournament worth fishing if you're into, and it matters a lot to you about the money and the cash, but we really are trying to encourage and find people and attract people that's not the only reason why they're fishing tournaments. We want people to be fun and friendly and not this be some tension between, he's my competitor, I can't be friends with him or hang out and whatever. That's just not the way we want to do it. So, there's a boat we raffled off a Feel Free at Wisconsin. So yeah, guys, that's KAS in a nutshell. So we would love to see you guys. KayakAdventureSeries.com. All the information is there on the web pages. All the information is pretty much there for the first two events. The one in February and March, Ocalapalooza and the Paris Real Fest. But the rest of the information will be coming out soon. And next week we will do our Paris Real Fest preview show. So anything else to add on the KAS? We cover it pretty good. That's kind of what it is.
No, I think we went over a lot there. I mean, we could talk for hours on like the cool stuff that happens at every festival, but
yeah, we could. We really could. It was a great time. Good seeing so many of you guys, so many of our friends in the comments here. You guys are awesome. Blake says bouncy house, he's in. Yeah, I mean, come on, dude. There might be some sort of waiver you might want to have you sign because it's probably not rated for adults, but dude, I'll let you in. See, comments here. Dan, are you having an event at South Boston? Yes, we are. Go check out the website, the South Boston Bassathon. So Dan will love to see you there. Look at that. There's some fellowship and memories from
that's all the Ohio boys.
Oh yeah. That one tournament. Where was that one? That's
that was Susquehanna.
Susquehanna, yeah. Fiesta on the Susky in Towanda where we got hurricaned out there. Guys, keep the comments coming. Let's go over the rules. So, first of all, yeah, let's go over the rules. This is always a tough subject to talk about and touchy. So, you guys, please chime in comments or questions if you have them. First thing I want to make you guys aware of is we're still going to use Amanda potentially at times as a consultant this year, but we also had to, unfortunately, we just have to. The industry's down. Everyone knows that. It's no secret. Industry's down. So we, rather than say, oh, it's just, whatever, like fold this thing. Well, this thing's got momentum and everyone's loving it. And you guys were great this year. So we're actually going to just bring a lot of the stuff in-house. We'll still have judges outside of, us, right? But I was like, all right, Amanda was hired by us with Real Tournament Management to do the judging and be the tournament director. So now it falls basically on me, which is fine because this is my baby, right? I mean, I own this thing, so it should. The final say and responsibility should always fall with the person who, is responsible for, the whole thing, right? So that actually is fine with me because she would have to come to me on any sticky and dicey situations or anything anyway to get advice and opinion, and we have a whole procedure in place. By the way,
plenty of those. Trust me.
Yeah, plenty of those. But at the end of the day, she's got to come to me because, obviously, I hired her to do all that stuff. And if there's something in there that it's out of her jurisdiction or she doesn't have the authority to rule on or to make a call on, she's got to get my opinion on it and advice on it anyway. So at the end of the day, some of that stuff will come to me. But I will be the tournament director this year. And then what will happen is my number and I got a lot of tournament director questions anyway. Like I was always answering the boundary questions, a lot of the rules that are unique that I came up with. If she didn't, know the answer, she would have to come to me for them, stuff like that. So she was handling the judging and all that a lot of other stuff, your refunds, a lot of other technical stuff. So now it'll just be me. And we will have, and you'll see this in the rules. We do have because I know so many of you guys, right? And there's a reason why last year and why I outsourced that, because I didn't want to see GPS coordinates on the back end. I didn't want to see people's names of who they were in the fish. But obviously there is, we are going to outsource the judging, but there is a system on the back end of Tourney X where the judges and people will not be able to see the names. So you can make a judge not be able to see whose fish it is, whatnot. So I'll kind of be in that role. If I have to look at something, I'm going to look at it blindly, right? If I have to see a GPS coordinate or whatever, then if anyone had a question or a judge or someone, then they're going to share it with me. But I'm not going to have access to all of it. And why? Why in the world would I not? What does it matter, Drew? I never want to have that information in my head. So if we go there, if Bassmaster or some other series were to go there, let's say in the future, I don't want anyone to think, well, this guy has all the, a lot of the spots where the big fish were caught. So I don't care. I don't want to know. That's not fun to me. What's fun to me is doing what I do and I love to do. And what we've set this series up to be is adventuring, exploring, and figuring it out. So, and I've done this long enough where I honestly think I even if I knew where the biggest fish were, I would never go there, but it just wouldn't be fun. It's like, well, that's no fun. I feel like I could probably find bigger fish. So it sounds like does that sound like maybe, I don't know if this sounds arrogant or whatever, but I feel like I'd find a spot that, okay, cool, you won a tournament there. I feel like I could find a spot that I could catch bigger ones. So I would enjoy like trying to challenge myself and do that. So anyway, I won't have that information anyway, unless it's a need to know thing or for some sort of like rules violation that I've got to like rule on or whatever. So anyway, that explains that. But we would just want the best. I mean, back me up here, Jacob. All right. Like, think about it. We just want the outcome to be the correct outcome. I don't care who would win. I don't care if it's my best friend or someone I'm in this tournament that I know really well or someone that I've never met before. It doesn't matter, and it should never matter. It should only be about the anglers should just get what they earn, what they deserve, and the proper outcome is what I want to see happen, because that's sports. It's like that is just sports. Sometimes you want this nice close football game to be like a close matchup and Super Bowl, but the reality is you got blowouts and teams that people you don't want to win things. That's just the way you have to let it fall. And so we just want to do what's best for you guys. And if we do that and you guys are happy and we are working our hardest to make sure the anglers are taken care of, then guess what? We'll be successful. Jake here, wherever I can't point, but Jake, myself, the Kayak Adventure Series will all win and we'll be successful if we help you guys get the proper outcome and help you guys have more fun and help you guys be more successful. Naturally, that's going to trickle down to us, and that's what we want.
Yeah,
is,
and you can't play favorites. Otherwise, like, why are we doing this? It's like this is
right.
supposed to be fun for everybody, and the most fun. Like, it sucks to make decisions. Like, we had to DQ at least 3 people's full stringers at a couple tournaments this year, just because they didn't read the rules, they didn't have the right identifier. There was one in particular. I was talking to him at the fishing show, and he was really frustrated that he got his entire catch DQ'd. And I'm like, well, you could have printed the identifier online. Like, we have the rules there. Like, we put all this stuff online to help people so that you don't have any like gray area. And it really, it sucks to have to make hard decisions. Like, nobody wants to DQ fish. I can tell you there is nothing worse in the world than having to do that. Like, it's just not fun. Like, we just want people to get credit for the fish they caught in the correct way, but you have to have standards in place. Otherwise, like, why are they there? Yeah,
exactly. So. There's no competition if it's not all.
And we are very flexible. If you reach out beforehand, if you can't make it to check-in, like, there's ways to get the identifiers. There's ways to make it work. So
absolutely. So let's dig into. Let me share the screen and all the rules. If you guys want to go on the website. Are updated, and they are also in red. So we always do that. We put, even on the tournament pages, if anything on a tournament page gets changed, so you can click on events. If I go to the home page, I want to show you how to get to the rules. Home, right here. And by the way, for anglers, all over the website, we actually have a new section called KAS logos and flyers. It's everywhere. It's you can go right here. You can find it. On download logos and flyers here. There's a lot of ways to get to it, but if you guys need any downloadable resources, they'll be here. Okay. So if you want to share a flyer, help us out, and more stuff's going to be popping up here as well. If you need the logo to use it, it's all here. So that's just a quick little heads up on that. But if you go to under for anglers and then click on rules, and this is where you'll see the rules. In some of these videos, these short little discussions that Jake and I are about to have on the rules, particular rules are going to get clipped and added to the rules page here. As you can see, we've got links to some already. And I'm not going to go over every rule here today. We're just going to go over the changes. So we keep them in red. Even the tournament pages, like I said, we make the changes in red if it's a change, and only if it's a change that would matter to the actual competition side of the sport. If, whatever, if we typo the address of something wrong, we're not going to like put that in red or whatever. We're just going to change it. But if it matters to the actual competition, then we will change it and put it in red, so that you, who may have looked at the page today, January 8th, and someone who looks at it May 1st, right before that tournament, you could review it, of course, and see what has changed from when you looked at it on January 8th. Okay, so, and this is year to year. So since last year, these are the changes. The common sense rule is still the same, but we did put in parentheses, we had this further down in the rules, but we did put in parentheses here, Jake, who is going to be on the 3-person panel right here in this section too. So if there is a tournament, like a protest, and we have to go to an appeal process, there is a panel and it's made up of 3 people. So there could be no ties. It's a tournament director of another series, a kayak adventure series angler, not in the event, someone who has fished our events in the past, but is not in that event. So they have nothing to gain, nothing to win or lose, and an angler or judge from another series. And that's all down in Rule 21. But we wanted to add that there so people just knew, even up top, like who is going to be deciding. And that's where I'm not involved in that. So that's why I'm saying there's certain things that once I know that it's a protest with this angler and that angler, I shouldn't be, I can't really be involved in, because someone might say, oh, I'm biased towards this or that. It's really going to be up to this panel. And I just want the correct outcome. Like I said, that's all I want. I don't care if it's going to cause the series to have to reshuffle money around or prizes or trophies or whatever. It doesn't matter. I just want the correct outcome, and we will have to do that if it comes to it. But ideally, like you said, Jake, we just want everyone to follow all the rules, do all the fishing and everything properly. And then the outcome is boom. It's the outcome. We hand you the check off the stage, which we do at KAS. We post date it so you can cash it that Monday after the protest period is over. And we know you can. So we changed on number 2, rules, interpretation, and enforcement. And chime in, Jake, because I'm not looking at you, but comments, if you guys have comments about certain rules, I can't see you guys on the screen. I'm just reading the rules page here. It says, we just clarified that, we had this on the rules already, but we kind of separated it out and we bolded. We've always said that we have a major violation and minor, but we actually wanted to clarify this very, specifically, because that will then allow us to put under A here, minor rules violations, and B, what our enforcement is, so that you guys know, because there are just so many different types of potential ways you could have an infraction, and be it in A, the minor rules violations, just so you guys know, are all those like typically unintentional, or they can be intentional in nature as well, but they're typically unintentional. But they can be intentional, but basically either way, they don't give an angler any advantage, or if they do, it's like this slightest of advantages. So because of that, because they could vary a little bit, then we did put, that not only can we DQ a fish or deduct inches or forfeit prizes, we actually put that we could choose to create a penalty box. Like if someone does something on Friday that, was not, we deemed it gave them a slight advantage, and it was not, it's kind of like it wasn't really in the rules if they could or couldn't, and maybe we could change the rules for the next event or next year. But at that moment, it gives us the option to say, all right, well, you're going to be launching an hour later on Saturday because of that. So it just kind of gives that option.
Yeah. I mean, one thing about fishing is it's never a vacuum. There's all these like unpredictable things that you never imagine will happen. Like,
yeah,
I mean, a great example is like I was fishing in navigable water and I ran into a temporary dam, right, last week. And it's like, well, what do you do? Technically, it was a earthen dam and you could portage it, but does that mean you have to stop? Does that mean like your trip's over? Right. Or are you just trapped? It's like there's always something. And I think in those scenarios, like obviously our rules, you could go over that, right? I think
you can, yeah.
But but in some series, like that would be the end. And your best bet, and this is not even with this rule, your best bet is always to call the tournament director if you have signal. I know that.
Yep.
Not every area has signal.
Yeah.
Call them and ask questions. There's nothing wrong with asking a question.
It's better to do that, yeah, for sure. And obviously beforehand, ask. So
now, if you don't get the answer you don't want, don't just do it anyways, because that's where we start running the problems.
Yeah, exactly. We're trying to help you guys catch more and bigger fish. So if there's a way that we can do that, then we're gonna do it. But if it's against any of these written rules here, then obviously we can't. But but that lets us have, basically just lets us have, like, in other words, if you put in the rules, it's your whole stringer's DQ'd, or all of it's, you know what I mean? Like you're disqualified from the event, or one whole fish is, if you make it just so black and white, like you said, Jake, you can never have all the situations that could happen. It's impossible. Like it's impossible. So it lets us use our judgment and the best judgment on, okay, this is clearly not like, let's say there's a sign that says no vehicles beyond this point when you're launching, right? But everybody else parked up at the top, and one person drove down there. And they didn't see the sign, either whether it was intentional or unintentional. Everybody else had to spend extra time dragging their kayaks, extra energy all the way down and all the way back up if they decided to move it in the middle of the day. That's extra time. They had to drag their kayak and get it all back up. But the other guy just loaded it right up and drove away right next to the water. Well, technically, you just gained, like, you saved energy. You also gained like probably 15, 20 minutes on everyone else that had to do the same thing. Well, that's like it's not like your whole tournament should be DQ'd because of that. It's like, maybe it was, it gives us the ability to just decide, okay,
right,
dude, that was not cool, but here's what we're going to do. You're going to have to suffer some sort of penalty before it. So anyway, but then there's the opposite of that, dude. There's the major rules violations. Okay. These are typically intentional. They're premeditated. They are clear cheating, and they give the angler a major advantage. These are ones that are not, they're rarely ever unintentional. These are all like intentional. But basically we put in the same thing. Let's see. And we also put in that anglers agree to take a polygraph test if asked by the tournament director, or accept the punishment the TD is handed down if they refuse. Well, if you didn't do anything wrong, I mean, I've taken 5 or 6 polygraph tests. I mean, like, it's just part of the game, it's part of the deal. And you might say, well, they may not be admissible in court or whatever, all this stuff. That's fine. That's not the whole, we would never just DQ or rule solely on the results of a polygraph. But what the polygraph can do is tell us which questions you struggled with or stumbled on, or why you failed. And then we know where to go start investigating further. You see what I'm saying? Like, now we've got some, so now between all of the investigation and the polygraph and all the metadata, right, in the photos and other witnesses, everything all together, now it just helps us. It's just one more thing that can help us figure out what really happened, so that, once again, the correct outcome can be handed down at the end of the tournament. We just want the correct for everyone.
And I mean, one thing that a lot of people overlook with these major rule violations is, yeah, you're breaking a KAS rule, you're breaking a Bassmaster rule, you're breaking, whatever tournament rule, KBF, but you're also breaking the law in a lot of these scenarios, right? Because, like, fish baskets in general are illegal. Like, if you get caught doing that, guess what? The fishing game are going to get involved in that. And then it's less about getting your fish DQ'd and more about, like, oh no, I'm the next walleye guy,
Right, exactly.
And like, those guys are not having a fun time right now. I promise you that. I'm sure.
No. Oh, God,
sure
no.
I'm sure they're like, man, this was not worth it.
No, people have lost, like, their jobs. They lost their families. Like,
Right.
literally, they divorced. They've lost jobs, families, because of what they've done in tournaments. For what? I mean, for what? This,
for an
like,
inch,
especially kayak tournaments. I mean, not for $10,000, because you can't win the GoPro guarantee without, you know what I'm saying, like, filming it. So that's another reason why we highly encourage filming. The NACWA bonuses, the GoPro, like, just to make sure no one questions your character, right, or what you did if something happened. You've got it right here, like, hey, I got it on film. So, if you happen to, like, using this most recent example, if you happen to catch the same fish twice, well, at least you can show us and you got it on film. And it's a bummer. We'll get to that later in the rules. That would be a bummer and unlucky, but it does happen. But anyway, at least you'd have it on film, and you could, show us and prove, okay, hey guys, I didn't, like, intentionally cheat, just so you know, here's the video. So we always encourage filming. But you will be turned over to the proper authorities for investigation for potentially prosecution for fraud. That's not written in, that's not a bold red for a change. That's just something we want to mention in this video, because we take it very serious, for sure. And you should be prosecuted for fraud if you've stolen from the KAS anglers and league. So we did change it to 10 years and under, or 10 years and older, sorry. Because there were some parents that wanted to have their 10 or 11-year-old fish, and they were going to be with them, and they were willing to sign the waiver. So we're like, all right, let's just do 10. It's, start at 10, double digits. But we did actually change this year, by the way, while we're on this topic. The division is going to be called high school and youth. Okay, so it's basically a high school division, even though, obviously you're 10 or 11, you're not in high school, but the majority of anglers in this division are high school and youth, and our good buddy Josiah is going to help us out with that. Shout out to Josiah, lives right up here close to us, fishes the Kayak Anglers of Northeast Ohio group, and is going to be fishing some KAS this year. He's going to help me with that division, and he'll help get the waiver sent back to the parents who do, because if you are under 16, as you can see there, you will have to fill out a waiver. So that's going to be a fun division, because we're going to hopefully, Jake, get high school fishing clubs to participate the way that they did at Shoalipalooza last year. So most high school, it's 18 years and under in that division, down to 10, obviously. And I think that's going to be really cool for high school students and teams to be, part of the series. And so that's going to be fun. So the next one, next red rule change here. Oh, we did occasionally allow some. Go ahead.
Can you click on the rules? Like, cause we're seeing the banners.
You guys are seeing. You guys haven't been on the rules the whole time?
No.
Oh my gosh, dude. So I clicked on it. It must have opened a new page.
Yeah, that's fine.
It says
it's
sharing.
On the main page that's scrolling here, just switch to it.
Oh, right
there
here?
You go.
Oh my gosh, dude. I was literally scrolling through all this stuff the whole time. So you can see what I was talking about, everything right now. Let's just get to
and everybody can go read them yourselves. Like,
you guys can go read them.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. So okay, we did change this rule here, right here, number under 3, participation and eligibility after the 10-year-old change. We did say last year, on rare occasions, the TD may allow late registration, but never once the tournament has begun. Basically what happened was we had those hurricanes, remember, and stuff like that. So people wanted to wait the last minute to register. And of course, we don't start till 3 p.m. on Friday. So they wanted to maybe even register later Thursday or Friday morning once they saw what things were looking like. So we allow that. And we may allow, if you just contact me, we can get you in later, because some people's schedules change. Life changes. I think things change, right? So, birthday party got moved or whatever, or something you were supposed to do got changed. So you can now fish, and you didn't know that until the last minute, even, but you can't obviously register and just fish Saturday. Once the tournament's begun on Friday, you can't register after that.
Yeah. So, because that would defeat the purpose.
Yeah.
So if you're going to only fish Saturday, just register.
Yeah.
So many people only fish Saturday. Like, it's not, sure, you're losing that afternoon session, but it's not the end of the world, guys. Trust me. It's crazy how many people have won just on Saturday.
Oh yeah. And then even that, it's crazy how many people culled every one of their fish out, and all the fish that essentially, won, or they ended up in the money or whatever, were from Saturday.
Yep.
They may have learned from Friday, but whatever. You get what I'm saying. Saturday only is.
A lot of people use Friday as like a YOLO.
Yeah, scouting, another practice day.
Let's throw it out there and see what happens. Yep. And it paid off, right. And not paid off.
So you can see here, you can watch this video on the off-limits practice and competition, and why we only allow 4 days of practice in the 2-week window leading up to the tournament. We did, by the way, Ocalapalooza, if you are fishing that, there's a tournament on Lake Rodman, which is in bounds for us. If you are fishing that tournament for the Florida, what series was that one? It wasn't the
Bass Nation, not Bass.
No, it wasn't the Bass Nation. It was the Florida. I don't know. I can't remember the name of the trail. All of a sudden, we had them on the show. Why am I blanking? Either way, you can go look and see if that's you guys do not have. Because
so many of these big fishing states have so many kayak trails. It's unreal.
I know, it is crazy.
Those states are so healthy. Like,
yeah, it's like the Florida Kayak Bass Trail or something, right? Yeah, it's Florida Kayak Bass Trail, I think, or something.
Yeah.
Why I'm blanking on this, but anyway, that one is on Rodman on like the Saturday the 8th. So we're not gonna count that day. So technically, if you were to fish that tournament, so we want to encourage people to fish that tournament too. It's kind of like you could technically fish that and then fish 4 other days, and that would be 5. But we're not going to count it because it's just they want to be able to like pre-fish a lot of these other waters. We have a lot of other waters in bounds, so we're going to give, we're trying to promote that event really and get people to fish it, because it's kind of like, hey, could be an extra way to. And it's like 2 weeks before. You know what I mean? It's not like it's the day before or the weekend before. It's actually 2 weeks prior. So but most all the time, it's just 4 days within that 2-week window, every other time. And then anything like that will obviously be specified on the tournament page. But basically, we just added in there that it's to not allow those with an infinite amount of time to have some major advantage. So, yeah, if you can only get a day and a half or 2 days, at least everyone else only gets another day or two on you, not like camping all week long there. And we don't want it to be won by the people who just have the most time on their hands. That's not fun for anybody. So, and when you get on the water, we did specify that regardless if you fish for an hour, a half day, or full day, that is a day. That is considered one of your days once you've launched and started making casts. We're not, I got off at noon one day, and then the next day I put on at noon and fished, so that's going to count for just one day. It's actually like if you're on the water, that's a day. But you get 4. I mean, that's a lot of days. And then remember, before the 2-week window, right, you can fish as much as you want on all the eligible water, right? It doesn't matter. You can fish as much as you want then. And then we put, that's not important to see. We did this last year. We didn't really put this in the rules because the whole point of the series is fellowship. But here this says that if all in-person check-in options have been exhausted, so you couldn't make it to Thursday's opening ceremonies to check in, and Friday you couldn't make it to the Bash U brunch to check in, then a virtual check-in may be granted, but you have to contact me, the tournament director, and I will check you in virtually. We don't do a board check, so you don't have to. We do it after the fact. You might think that's
you
like
just have to print your identifier.
Yeah, print your identifier.
I just got done talking to somebody yesterday about this who's fishing Ocala. You just have to print your identifier.
Print your identifier, and then your board.
Or just come pick one up Friday night from literally. Like I have a stack of them at the Airbnb, and you just come get 30 of them.
Or Thursday night or whatever, Friday morning or anytime, or a friend, get a buddy of yours that you're going to be fishing with that you might see, get them to grab an extra one. And our board checks it's just a catch board, any of the catch boards or that Yak Attack leaderboard. As long as you're using one of those, you're okay. If anything seems fishy about the board or anything, we will ask to check it afterwards. And if you cannot produce the exact board, and trust me, it's just like fish. There are markings, scale patterns, all that on the board, and if it's not the same board, we will be able to tell in the photos. If people that think they just can outsmart the judges and the rules, that people who do this and look at this stuff constantly, and my background is in sports management. I ran sports leagues for 5 years. I ran the River Bassin Tournament Trail for about 7 or 8. I fish in these high level tournaments. I know every trick in the book that you're trying to do, and you will get caught. I mean, it's not that hard. It's just people don't realize how good technology is and what can actually be done. So if you do not produce that same board, then you're just going to have to be DQ'd, for sure. So, but it helps us be able to check in people virtually, have tournaments, and you guys can just buy those standard boards from Catcher or Yak Attack and fish it. Because, let's think about it. If you check in a board, right, and there's a sticker or whatever's put on it, and I get why they do it, and it does help deter. It makes it harder. But someone could pull a sticker off and put it on some other board that they've cut in half and they're trying to cheat with anyway. It doesn't really prevent someone from cheating in a way, and all the boards are the same exact length. Nothing, I've never seen one that's was manufactured and was off by a 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch. They're all identical. So anyway, we just are trying to make it easier for more people to come and show up. And
so one person asked if we can use a blank identifier. Well, a lot of the joint trails we're doing, we're working with them to accept our identifier instead. So let us get back to you on that, because typically that's a question for that, local tournament trail. But usually we require our identifier. The only time we have made that exception was during the hurricane scenario. So,
Okay. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you're right. Most of the local clubs have been accepting our identifier, since they're usually adopting our rules and everything else too.
Our identifiers are quite nice. So.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Real nice. Let's get into some of these juicy new rules here. We're getting close. Kayak regulation. This is one. The first thing we added or changed, and you guys come on, comment. Let's hear it. Is a backup motor cannot be on your vessel at all. It can be kept in your vehicle or wherever you choose to leave it for closest access to it, in case your primary motor goes out and you choose to pedal or paddle to go get your backup. Okay. There has been some series in the past have allowed 2 motors at one time to be in use. That's very complicated. That's a lot of electronics. That's very dangerous to have a lot happening. I mean, I've almost, I don't know how I've never been thrown off my kayak before with my motor. When I hit, especially when I was using Motor Guide in the past, and I had it full blast, and I would hit go, and it was pointed that way or that way, and I didn't realize it was on full, like 10. You almost get thrown out of the boat. They're dangerous. I mean, you've seen a video that Christine showed where she didn't have her kill switch attached to her life jacket. She fell out, and the kayak's going around, and it's dangerous. If you get run over by that torpedo blade prop, you're gonna be feeling it. You're gonna be hurt big time. So we don't want an extra motor and all the batteries on your vessel in use at the same time, but we also don't want the backup motor brought on there. And we're doing that, guys, because not everyone has the ability or the means to buy a whole second motor. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it just seems excessive to carry that, strap it down on your kayak. So you can leave it in your car or wherever and go back and get it, because you're in a kayak, right? You're in something that can be propelled by your paddle or your feet. So go paddle back and get it if your motor fails you that day. If you need to go get it, or just keep fishing the rest of the day with your paddle or your foot pedal. So then here's the thing: vessel must adhere to the specs and identify marketing standards. This is the most important thing we added this year. We decided it's about time to define what a kayak is in our definition for this series for kayak fishing tournaments, right? Because I mean, look at the boats that are made these days, the kayaks that are made these days, I should say, that are really just miniature skiffs or mini boats. They're awesome. I love them. We want them to be a part of the series. We have nothing against them. We want everyone's, style to be represented. Like the new XTR, great example. Cool boat from Bonafide. We love that. Like, we love that innovation. We love a little micro mini skiff, right? That stuff like that would that's similar. We want these things to be in the series because we just want more people to, it's not like it's giving someone an advantage. If it doesn't give somebody some ridiculous advantage, even if it did, by the way, if it was in the rules, then it's not giving anyone an advantage because everyone could go get it. But I digress. You get what I'm saying? If it veers too far away from the kayak and what this is, and basically just these mini boats that we're using these days, then we gotta cut it off at some point, right? Because when do you just say, what if they start roller molding a 17-foot, and 60-inch wide boat? I mean, that is no long. I mean, that's really like overkill. But we know they're going to keep making stuff even bigger. So what we did is we just said, let's make a combined length and width. So people can still go long and skinny. They can go short and wide, but they cannot actually. We just changed this. Sorry, guys. I did not hit save on this. We just changed that to 230. We did have to make a change to 230 on that. So I don't know why it says 230 right there, but I don't know why it didn't change on the other part. But
but this ensures, just to interject a bit here, like some of the kayaks that would fall under this this like jurisdiction, or like the Blue Sky, or like the Flip Cat, which if you've seen that as a foldable kayak. It will also include things like the Bass Raft, which is
I've got that pulled up. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like a pontoon style fishing craft. It's not quite a boat. I mean, it definitely falls into that like middle ground, like what the Blue Sky is. And the Blue Sky is actually a fairly popular boat. I've seen quite a few people fish out of those on Bassmaster. So I think these rules kind of clarify whether or not those are like legal or not, because we get that question a ton, believe it or not. So
right,
but it keeps you from showing up in a John boat, right? So
yeah, exactly. We don't want that. So what I'm doing now, I'm going back in the rules. I don't know why it was changed in that one spot, but not everywhere. We were going with 230, and I'm going to hit save right now, and you guys will see that change now. All right, let's go back and share the screen again. And there we go. All right, rules. So 230 is our hit refresh. Sometimes it takes a second for it to like actually show up in real life. Okay, there it goes. All right, 230. So follow me, everybody. This won't apply to many people, but it certainly will apply to some. Combined length and width cannot be over 230. Okay, you can go long and skinny or short and wide, but not over 230. That's one. if your kayak or vessel has a horse, even if it's under 230, and a lot of boats out there are under this 230 length and width, but let's say it has a horsepower rating over 6 horsepower, regardless if it comes in under 230, like I said, it is not an approved vessel. Those are getting into true boats that are meant to be 100% gasoline or propane or whatever powered vessels. That is not the intent of the series. It's called the Kayak Adventure Series. These need to be small vessels. So if the vessel is listed or marked, the next bullet point, if it's just flat out marketed under the popular plastic John boat category, your bass hunter, your pond prowler, sun dolphins, it is not an approved tournament vessel. They do not contribute to the kayak fishing economy, our world. They're not part of it. So even though it may go under 230, it's not going to be allowed. Okay, canoes are legal. They are a kayak and a canoe are synonymous, right? They're legal. It's fine. You can use a canoe as long as it's under the 230 spec.
And you're not gaining an advantage being in a canoe, trust me. And that's somebody who loves fishing on a canoe. It's just
we added that in the rules too, as you know, Jake. We feel more people that come to our events that might fish out of a canoe will see all of your amazing kayaks out there from all these manufacturers, these great sponsors that we have, and the great manufacturers overall in the kayak fishing industry. They'll see those watercraft, and there's no way they're going back to that canoe.
I was fishing on the river last year in a tournament, going down river, and this guy in a canoe was going up river, and he got stuck and almost flipped and had to jump out. And he looks over at me. He's like, "Man, I got this all wrong. I need to be doing what you're doing."
Yeah, exactly. They fill up with water. I mean, there's a time and a place for a certain sit inside, like kayak and whatnot. And there's some advantages to them, but overall, what we can do now with rotomolding and it's much better to be in some sort of sit on top, more comfortable seats. There's a lot of advantages. You're higher up your deck. Anyway, canoes are legal though. If you got one and you want to fish, go for it. Inflatable kayaks, modular kayaks, stand-up paddleboards, all that, any other solo or tandem watercraft are all acceptable. Again, as long as they come in under the 230 spec requirement. The catamaran style we've talked about, complying with all other regulations, will be eligible. That's your Blue Sky, your Tiger Shark. I'll show that one in a minute. The Stingray from Tiger Shark. Bass Raft is an approved watercraft. And then any kayak boat made from metal is not approved, with the exception of an aluminum canoe. And that's the final thing, that if it's a John boat that is not rated for over 6 horsepower, it comes in under our 230 spec, it meets every one of those other bullet points, but we don't want those in the series, like you said. So we had to just say, okay, now if it's metal, boom, it's eliminated. So I guess, but we also, a John boat's also listed in the John boat category, or so anything that's listed with that would be, illegal anyway. So I guess if there's, well, we already talked about that, the plastic John boat. Yeah. So if it was plastic and it was a normal John boat, it's plastic, then it's not legal. So I'm going to quickly share something real quick on the screen so you guys can see what we're talking about for this is a Tiger Shark boats. This is just an example. They have a Tiger Shark boats here. They make a lot of pontoon boats, but they make something. See, they're just like pontoons like that, but they're rotomolded pontoon. But they make one called the Stingray. That's like a personal one. It can carry 2 people, but also a lot of just people fish just one person on it. But it's just a Blue Sky. It's just a little bit wider, a bigger Blue Sky. But they've got some ways they've really been working with the wounded warriors and people like that to allow wheelchair access on these people with disabilities. It's a little bit bigger and wider. It's actually in my opinion, I think you'd agree, Jake, it's probably a disadvantage in a lot of ways. It's very big. It can't get into all the places that the other boats can.
I mean, a lot of people who are going to be using these are going to be, they need that to be out on the water. Yeah. Right. And I would much rather include something that gets people out on the water than like arbitrarily just not, it's like.
Absolutely. Especially
because a lot of
veterans,
a lot of people can't sit down for that long in a kayak. Like they need that like higher space and length. And you're not going to fish a boat tournament in that. You really need to fish a catch, measure, and release style tournament. Like you just.
Yeah, for sure. I actually had up. I've got the Bass Raft up here. Let me try to.
And I do, while he's pulling it up, you got to make sure your kayak is up to spec on registrations. And that's a question I got
Yeah.
multiple times last year at check-in. And they had to fish without their motor. They had to use their pedal drive and paddle. So, because they didn't have it registered. You got to register it. And it's just whatever state you're in, it's got to be, because the Coast Guard requires it, right? And
our rules,
there's been a big push this year too, because a lot of states require you, if you're operating a motor boat, to have taken a boater safety course. Unfortunately, Missouri is going to be one of those for 2025. So, something to look for.
Absolutely.
And you can take it in any state.
You got to follow the laws and rules. That's in our rules. You have to follow the federal laws and rules and regulations. Now, does that mean if you're speeding, you're moving from spot to spot and you speed? These are the things that, like you said, there's so many things. If you speed, you run a stop sign. Okay. Well, we can never police that, control that, and everyone does that. We all know that. So the problem is, if you get caught, if you got a ticket for a violation during tournament hours, then you would be suffering punishment from the tournament. But if you're not, you know what I'm saying? Like if you speed or something like that, like we cannot, there's no way.
Yeah, because that's not fishing related. I mean, I know some tournaments have DQ'd people for that, which I think is.
But only it gives us, well, it depends. If you were speeding at 130 miles an hour to try to like get somewhere and you're reckless, then yeah, maybe we would. But if it's like, hey man, you got busted running a stop sign, but it's like Steve Owen said on his latest live, if they don't check every single angler's license, it's a random check. And we can't.
I saw Drew get checked.
Yeah, I got checked. I mean, you get checked all the time, but if you don't have it, when you do check, if we check you guys after the fact and we say, hey, like the top 10 or whatever, 15%, if we ask for everyone's license, you go down the line, we're not going to check you at registration. It's more time away from the we could be doing fun and fellowship. If you want to if you like actually want to somehow go through this whole event and risk that we're not going to check you and win, then you're crazy, because you could be costing yourself $10,000, and all you have to do is, we should be supporting the fisheries. That's what fishing licenses do. So you need to follow the laws, the rules. We'll check your fishing license afterwards. And if you don't have a current fishing license, sorry, that's one, you're done. Like you're DQ'd. So we don't know it until we either check it, or if a officer were to make us aware that they checked you and you got a ticket, or that you got a ticket speeding or whatever. We just don't know until that. So those things for sure. It's more like anyway, I think we covered it. All right. The bass raft, got it pulled up here.
Yeah, we got a lot to go over, so we probably got to.
Yeah, we're wrapping this up here. Bass raft is an approved one as well. Okay, so it's something that came up last year, Wisconsin. Wow. So but yeah, I think, the New Canoe Frontier, the XTR, we've talked about, there's other big boats out there. Hobie Pro Angler 14 is big. I mean, length and width and all that combined. It's
the Hobie Pro Angler 17 though.
17. Yeah. 17 actually would not be allowed. We actually would not be allowed in these series. It doesn't meet the length and width.
I saw somebody on Caddo with one of those. We were there.
I mean, some people still could use it as a solo. I mean, it's huge for sure. Let's go back to those rules, and then we will wrap that up. What was that? Yeah, tandem watercrafts. Two people cannot be in a watercraft at one time, even in the high school and youth division. So you can't be in a tandem. I know you want to be there with your child or whatnot, but you got to be in a separate watercraft, not with them. That's just it wouldn't be fair. You'd be kind of like paddling them, and then the others, wouldn't have that advantage. You'd be guiding them, putting them in the right spot. This is one of the biggest new rules here under scoring, under 12 scoring. It's the new 1/4 inch corrective scoring. I'm about to add some photo examples on this page, and I'm going to share them with you guys now. I have them all queued up here to share with you guys now, but let's read it first. We have a new, something I think you guys are going to be excited about. It actually helps the anglers. We've thought long and hard about this. There's something called the corrective 1/4 inch corrective scoring. I'll just read it verbatim. This only applies when a fish's mouth is slightly cracked. So that's like your 1/4 inch or less, barely cracked. And then, some people call it where you can see some of the measuring board between its lips, which in the past has resulted in a 1/2 inch penalty because of a cracked open mouth. Well, the new quarter-inch corrective scoring method will be instituted by the judge to help the angler get the best and proper score and not have to stress about resubmitting another photo. That's stressful. I get it. You're trying to scramble to find which one it is and meet deadlines and stuff like that. So here's how it works. When a mouth is only slightly cracked, the length of the fish, we all know this. Jake, you know this as good as anybody. It doesn't change the length of the other end on the measuring board, like hardly at all, if any, when it's fully closed. It's just they didn't get the photo as good as closed as, the standard we would like to see. It's just, usually unintentional, but it can be intentional. Like you're just trying to get that last little 16th of an inch or 1/8 of an inch to get it to touch. And it's cracked. Your mouth is still cracked. So when it's fully closed, let's see, the jaw is closed and therefore the advantage gained for a true open mouth is gone because the jaw is closed, and these ones that are slightly cracked, the whole jaw is closed. This isn't some wide open mouth, which is going to change the length an inch or whatever, potentially 3/4 of an inch or 1/2 inch or an inch. It's just going to change it down a 1/4 inch. That's it. Once it's fully closed. The 1/4 inch corrective scoring allows the judge to score the fish what they know it is, and it should be if the mouth was fully closed up. This means the score will move down just 1/4 inch, not a 1/2 inch like the deduction would have been, and the angler doesn't have to stress about a new photo, resubmitting, deleting the old photo, and then the judges don't have to worry about removing the fish, waiting for the angler to resubmit, which at times does actually lead to duplicate fish in the system that sometimes if this is
resubmitting a fish sucks, guys.
Resubmitting a fish. Yeah. And if a duplicate fish is left in the system on accident, then it messes everything up, all the standings, right? So we don't want you to be submitting the same fish over and over. Now you got 2 or 3 of them in the system. The judges have to sit there and figure it out. And it's like all over what? This mouth was slightly cracked, and we know it's just going to move your fish down to the next 1/4 inch mark, and that's it. I mean, so let's save everyone that hassle. Let's give the angler, instead of a 1/2 inch, let's give them the 1/4 inch that they would have had. So I'll read it and it'll make more sense here. If the angler can find a new photo where the bass's mouth is fully closed but still touching the 1/4 inch mark they're trying to attain, like if you're trying to get that last little squeeze bit of juice out of that fish, and that's why that mouth is slightly cracked, and they of course can resubmit the fish to Tourney X for rejudging. Here's the example. If an angler X tries to get a fish to touch 17.5, you're trying so hard to get it to touch with the mouth fully closed. They finally get it, or so they think, but the mouth is barely cracked, and the astute KAS judge catches it. In the past, you'd be deducted a 1/2 inch because the mouth isn't fully closed like the rule states, which results in a 17-inch score. 1/4 inch corrective scoring moves the score to 17.25 and only moves the score down a 1/4 inch to what it should be. Again, this only applies to fish that have a mouth just a 1/4 inch or less open, and the angler doesn't have to do anything further unless they choose to resubmit a new photo that shows it fully closed and touching the 17.5 inch mark, and they can gain that 1/4 inch back. So I will stop sharing this and I will share some photos so you guys understand this even clearer.
I'm going to say, I have a good photo of this somewhere. I just would have to dig for it.
No, I got good ones pulled up, man, that I've done. I got smallie and largemouth here that I uploaded to the system here. Here they are. Okay, so here's a largemouth. Let's see. I don't know which one this is first. Okay, it's slightly open in this one. So you can see the fish is, I don't know if we can really zoom in anymore on this somehow. I don't know. Can you zoom in or no? I don't know. I don't think we can, but on these. But I can tell you right now, that's a bummer we can't zoom in. But if you guys can tell when you zoom in, maybe I could actually pull it up on my screen or somehow. I don't know, and share it that way, where I can share my tab.
Well, you can see that
it's cracked. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's tough because it doesn't look like much, and some trails are going to be more, aggressive about this than others, which is unfortunate. But I mean, a lot of trails will say that's an open mouth.
Oh, and it absolutely is. When you zoom in, you'll see what I'm talking about. It's absolutely.
Well, you can see if you look closely on the screen here, you can see that the white sticker that's there that they have you put on there, you can see how it V's out, right? You can see the V, and that's what you look for on the open mouth.
You guys, am I sharing my screen right now?
You got to get rid of that picture. Hold on, I'll do it.
Oh, get rid of that picture. Okay. So I just had that fish pulled up. All right, so I'm going to zoom in here. You guys can see it a little bit better. Do you see how that mouth is this is me trying to get as much as I can out of this fish, and there's nothing wrong with that. You want to try to do that. You see that right there, guys? That is an open mouth. And you can see the board, you have this indentation here. That's an open mouth. And they would have deducted me if I would have submitted that. But you can see when it's like that on the board, it's touching 21. All right. Now, let's see the photo. You got it still? You got this photo, Jake? The new one? You guys got my screen still?
Yeah, you're good.
You
you're
see
good.
the difference, guys? And we're going to post these. So see how fully closed that is? There is no gap. It is fully closed right there. That's the fish photo that I submitted in this particular tournament. And it does not touch 21. It cannot. It would not touch 21 without that little teeny bit of open that it was. It would actually, that helped that fish get to 21.
Was that a Gunnersville fish?
I think that was a Caddo fish.
Oh, okay.
So you get what I'm saying? The corrective scoring, if the other one was touching 21 and had that crack mouth, we would just move you down to 19 3/4 because guess what? Or sorry, 20 3/4. 20 3/4.
Because that's a big penalty.
I'm hurting myself here. 20 3/4 because we already know what you're doing, or either intentionally or unintentionally. We know what's happening. We know it's going to be. If we ask for someone, if they were to ask me, if at this tournament I tried to submit the other fish photo and it got deducted a ½ inch, and I was like, and they were like, well, send us another photo of it showing 21 with the mouth fully closed, I couldn't produce it because guess what? Fully closed. It's not. It would only touch 20 3/4. So we're just going to do that because we're not stupid. We know what's happening, whether it's intentional or unintentional. We know what is happening. You're trying to get more. You're trying to take advantage of the rule, and even a little crack can give you more on the other end. So let's do a smallmouth so you guys can just see a difference. So this smallmouth,
which I think are going to be the main culprits of this rule. Trust me.
Yeah, for sure. Now that's like a 1/4 inch open. That's like a true 1/4 inch. I would call that a 1/4 inch open. As you can see over here, it touches 19 inches, right? But in this tournament, when I tried my hardest to get that mouth to close and for it to actually touch 19 closed, it would not do it. See, now I got it closed. That's what it looks like closed. You guys remember the difference? Come over here, and now that it's closed, it literally is, it's barely touching, the 18 3/4 when it's fully closed. So that little bit of mouth open, that 1/4 inch, well, it's not a little bit. That was actually a nice 1/4 inch there. It was open. The largemouth was much less. But anyway, that's the way we're going to do it. We're going to give you guys what you should get and what we know the fish is. So anyway, that's that rule. And does anyone have any, I don't know, you guys can check the comments, any questions about that one, but, and then we'll wrap this up. On the micro bag division, the smallest 5, do not submit until you have 5 fish. Do not submit. Okay. That messes the leaderboard up. Not that the leaderboard's, proper anyway, because it's still showing the most, but Dwayne's working on getting that fixed where it'll be reversed, where the least amount
probably won't be this season though.
Probably won't be this season, but we don't want you guys to submit any microbag fish until you have 5. And really, you can just wait. You could.
So we don't judge microbag fish till Saturday, anyways. So honestly, guys, that should be the last thing you submit, and you just submit your smallest 5, and you have no problems.
Yeah, and if you want to submit them once you have 5, that's fine. But the reason why we say you can't submit them before you have 5 is because you cannot win microbag without 5. You know what I'm saying? It's the lowest score. So obviously, if someone has 1 fish and somebody's got 5, they're going to have a higher score. So you can't win with 1s anyway. So you got to have 5. So wait until you have 5, then submit them. And if you do submit them when you have 5, you need to go in and it'd be helpful if you would go in and go to manage catch on TourneyX, delete your biggest and add in the one that you're calling in, and then you'll have 5 again, and it'll be the proper 5. If you don't do that, the system's automatically going to kick out, the smallest fish, and it's going to keep the bigger ones because that's the way it's set up. But they're working on changing that. Here's another big one. Scoring a fish twice is not allowed. So we had to, obviously, based on what happened recently with the Hobie BOS and that tournament, I'm not going to make public comments about that. I've got my thoughts and opinions. I'm keeping them to myself for the most part, publicly. I'm just kind of keeping them to myself. But it has caused the industry to maybe just shake up the rules and basically define how are we determining if it's the same fish or not? What are we using as a series to say that's the same fish? So we've defined it. Scoring a fish twice is not allowed, even if it's legitimately caught both times. That sucks if that happens. You might want to go play the lottery, but it does happen, and we are sorry. But catching the same fish in the same day happens, and we apologize if it happens to you. But we have to ensure that anglers are not being cheated by those who might actually think it's a good idea to keep fish in baskets, stringers, coolers, or live wells and try to score them multiple times over the course of the tournament. There's a reason why the fish are all facing to the left. If you don't know that, if you're new to tournament fishing, all the fish have to face to the left on your measuring board so we can see the same side of the fish, and no one can just flip the fish over and now it's facing to the right and they score the exact same fish and act like it was, a separate fish catch. So they're going to score it twice. So they all face to the left for that reason. And similarly here, we just can't let the same fish be scored twice. And below is the criteria and the enforcement and judgment of the rule. Scale patterns and unique markings or scars, etc., they will all be used to determine if the fish is the same. If the bass has the same scars and scale pattern, it's the same fish, and only one will be scored. If the bass has new or different scars, but also the same scale pattern, as you can see, guys, the scale pattern is our true, that is like the DNA we're going by. If the scale pattern is like it really is like DNA, right? So we are sorry if it has new or different scars, but it looks different, but it's also has the same scale pattern. It's the same fish, and only one of those fish will be scored. If there is any suspicion of foul play, we will contact the local game warden, because obviously, how did that fish get all these new scars, right? And that would be a little fishy. Maybe it's kept in a basket or stringer or cooler. That could be a clue or an indicator. You may also be requested to take that polygraph test. And if you refuse to speak to a game warden or take that polygraph test, then you'll just be disqualified, because clearly you cheated and you're hiding something. So again, the moral of the story is if you're not cheating, you got nothing to worry about. And
these might sound aggressive,
nothing.
Right? That's not the point here. The point is to protect the anglers,
you guys.
Right?
Yeah.
It's not, if it sounds like, oh yeah, all this fish baskets and stuff, it's there to protect you from these scenarios. We're not saying that these scenarios are happening. I mean, I'm sure they have happened. We've had instances of it, and that's why these rules are there.
Absolutely. But again, if you got video proof from cast to catch that you caught that same fish twice and you were not bed fishing, you're going to win a new GoPro as a consolation prize, since the fish cannot be scored twice in the event. Sorry about that. Can't do it, but we will give you GoPro if you have the video cast to catch proving you caught it twice. So the moral of the story is film your adventures to win KAS bonus cash and prizes, and cover yourself. If anyone ever questions anything you did or didn't do, if we don't have the video proof, guys, if we don't have that video proof, the ruling may not go the way you want it to or hope it will go. We are going to put in more stuff here, but optional filming and incentives are right here on number 17. We added a new rule in here, just mandatory KAS camera crew on the water coverage. So filming yourself with any camera validates your catch. We talked about this, blah, blah, blah. It's highly encouraged. It's not mandatory at all. You do not have to film yourself, guys, but just know that if you don't, then, if there's a question that comes up that we don't have any way to, again, it may not go your way. So,
and I mean, if you're filming and you catch a fish that looks similar, like a mile away, that's going to really bail you out when you're like, look, guys, I was way over here. You can see me do it.
Yeah, exactly. So we also have our own team of on-the-water videographers and drone pilots. And we travel around to all the different waters and bounds to cover the event for the anglers and the fans, capturing both photo and video. You guys have seen those photos in the photo gallery on the tournament recap pages. Okay, we want to highlight your memories and your incredible experience here. If you have nothing to hide, you would never refuse this, because our videographers and drone pilots, we're not going to be right up in your face, messing up your fishing. We're very respectful. We understand fishing as well. So we're never going to impose on that. We're just going to be there to cover you from a distance. That's it. So if you refuse that, let me see for a second. Let's see. If you refuse that, then you're not going to be allowed to fish the events. So again, it's to protect you guys, because there's only one reason you would refuse that. you're trying to do something shady and cheat everyone. So it's just another way we can kind of make sure these are all legitimate and on the up and up. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's it, guys. You can communicate with them if they're getting too close, or if there's somewhere you'd rather them be. If you're going to fish somewhere next, you just let them know. But yeah, if you refuse their coverage, you're going to be DQ'd from the event. And then the other thing that's important here is on Big Bass, and Big Bass only, not the tournament itself, just the Big Bass Award, which has some new and different prizes this year. Whichever angler filmed their catch and sends it to. So if you both had a 21.25-inch bass, if one of you guys filmed that bass and the other one did not film it, the person who filmed it will win the Big Bass Award. That's the tiebreaker. Second tiebreaker goes to the next biggest fish on the stringer. And then, does that make sense? So again, all these incredible incentives to filming. It's so easy these days with a Nocqua battery pack and a GoPro or other action cameras that are getting better and better all the time, right? So hardwired in and hit go with a 256 or whatever memory card and have fun. If you don't need the footage, you don't use it, then whatever, just re-record over it for the next event. But
send it to
at
us.
least you
We'll
have
use it as B-roll. You'll show up on the Instagram page.
Yeah. Absolutely. We
got a clip right now going viral. It's awesome.
That's true. We did. Yeah. Cole's clip's going viral. We just added that typical AOI packages around $10,000 every year, which this year it is with that trailer from Modern Buggy RV trailer, the Overland trailer. And then the team of the year is usually around $5,000. We just added that in there. And then we just are letting you know that polygraphs are just one piece of the puzzle to, we already talked about that, to ensure that anglers are, everything's on the up and up. It's not like you pass or fail polygraph and all of a sudden, that's it. It's done. Like, just because I passed, there's nothing, no more investigation. No, that doesn't mean, because they're not always 100% accurate. So, and this is another big one. It's the last one here, I think, but a lot of people were confused last year. They would download the waiver. They would try to, or email us and say, where do we send the waiver? Or they would hand it to me at the registration. But actually, when you click on the check boxes on Tourney X, it's actually saying that you're agreeing to all the tournament rules and the waiver and release of liability, which I'm going to link to that waiver right here where it says that. But basically, you're saying you agree to it already electronically. That's your registration. That does it. So boom. So there you go. That is it. And I believe, yeah, that's it, guys. All the changes. So
a lot to digest.
But a lot of good stuff, I think. I don't know. I haven't seen the comments, but I'm sure some people out there were.
I've been keeping an eye on them. We've been cycling through them.
Okay,
JT said his GoPros are always running. Well, his cameras are always running.
Yeah, the cameras. Yeah. So the other thing I was going to say, so on the corrective scoring, does that make sense to everyone? Was there any comments about that? I mean, you guys can see when I put those fish up there that, like, if you've never fished these tournaments, you don't understand how serious and how zoomed in we're talking about mouth closed, like fully closed. People don't understand that. They get the jaw closed and they think it's good and it's close enough. There is no close enough. It's fully closed. And if it's not, no big deal. You're not like DQ the fish. You're not deducted an inch. It's like, dude, we know what the little bit it's going to move. That little teeny bit it's going to move when it goes from, this to this. You know what I mean? We know what it's going to do to the tail. So we're just going to fix it. Makes it so much easier on you guys. And that's the ultimate goal. So, yeah, that's it.
You guys want to watch that clip? Spirit
Which
of
clip?
GoPro? Hold on. Let's pull it up.
Yeah, of course. We want to watch a clip, man. This is the Kayak Adventure Series. Anything we can see, fish catch we can see, we want to do it.
All right.
Oh, yeah. Cole's clip is awesome.
Whoa! Giant smoke. Oh, yeah, he came back.
Figure 8. The small mouth.
Dude, that was epic. Like, that was really, really well done.
You should have just bow flipped it, dude.
I know he didn't land it.
No!
But dude, watch it again. He actually does a great job. I mean, like it missed it, and how fast he got that back in there.
Hook never separated from the mag.
I mean, hindsight is 20/20 with this. There's a lot of people commenting negatively, but
watch this.
Whoa!
Boom. He's back in so fast, and then he's zigzags it.
Giant smoke.
he like whips
Oh,
it
yeah,
left and
he came
right, so
back.
it didn't come
He came back.
back too quick to the boat, and it looked like it was a stun. A fish that gets hit, you know what I mean, is going to be like injured. So that bass was
Oh,
looking
no.
for an injured shad or whatever bait fish, and he did a great job of doing that and giving it a little bit more time. I thought it was impressive. I know he didn't land it,
Hook
but
never separated from the mag.
that was well done.
He had one hook point.
Anyways, that clip right now has 730,000 views. So if you haven't watched it, go over there and watch it.
How many?
730,000.
I thought it was just at 200 and something. It's got 700.
Yeah, well, it's blown up. It's got 3,000 likes now.
Oh my
It's almost
goodness, just
tripled since we talked.
a couple hours. Yeah, it's like tripled since we talked this morning. Yeah, that's
Well,
crazy.
how it goes, man. And
Man.
the analytics are really delayed, so you can't see them unless you go to desktop. So,
Yep, that's true. All right, well, I appreciate you guys all tuning in live. There will, if we make any other changes to that rule page, they'll be changed in red. But I think that's about it. I think maybe I just noticed one little catch. We got to clarify if the waiver needs to be for children 18 and under or 16. I think I saw it written two different ways. But I'm looking forward to it. We don't want to ever disqualify, DQ, deduct anybody of anything. I mean, that's like, it's one of those things like with kids, right? It's like when you tell your kid this is harder for me than it is you, to like actually put them in timeout or punish them in some way. Like it's painful, dude. Like, hey, bro, I want you to be able to watch Paw Patrol all you want, but I got to take it away, man. Like I got to take it away because you're, did whatever.
my kid
right?
told me I was going to timeout yesterday, and I was like, you know what? I accept. I'll go to timeout.
Yeah, perfect. Get yourself a little break. It really is. And we just want 100% what's best for everyone out there. We want it to be fair, legal, all the event to be valid. I think we're doing a pretty good job of it, and we're going to continue to do that. And as long as I think intent matters in life, don't you think like intent really, really matters? Like if someone is intentionally, like if you accidentally bump somebody or hit someone or whatever, that's one thing. If you intentionally punch them in the face, that's another thing. Like intent really matters in life. And I think if you guys understand our intent is we're not trying to penalize or disqualify, or we have no favorites in this. This is to us, these are numbers and fish that are just, we're just judging blindly. Like I don't know who it is. I'm just judging it the same way every time, right? Our judges or myself or whoever's looking at it. As long as you guys understand our intent is for you guys to just have the fairest event possible. And we know, and then same with you guys. If your intent was, not premeditated, not malicious, not, thought out and calculated, where it's clearly you're trying to gain an advantage and break a rule, that's different. And what we've seen different is, okay, you just didn't see the sign said you can't drive down, down this little road, and, but you gained an advantage. So we still have to enforce it. We're going to have to do it. So it's not always easy. It's not easy on our part, but we love you guys. Continue to love each other. Pray for the country, pray for in the coming weeks, and just stay safe, stay healthy. We've been fighting it, man. I know everybody has the sickness that's gone around. It's been rough. So we were out for like 10 days sick, literally, like the whole family was sick. I'm still getting over it. Never made it to Georgia for Christmas. Just got stuck in a hotel for like 3 days. So a lot of fun, Jake, paying a house dog sitter just to drive to, and you're thinking you're going to Georgia to celebrate with your family for Christmas, then to stop at a hotel and just be stuck there for 3 days, pay a hotel to stay there for 3 days, just to come back up and never make it to Georgia at Christmas. That was our experience. So, but anyway, stay safe. Final comments from you, my friend?
No, I think that's it. We're going to roll a commercial and we'll end the stream.
Mark's last comment here, tiebreaker should not be because of something you have to buy. Well, you have to buy a kayak. A kayak is thousands of dollars, right? We're talking about the big bass tiebreaker that's not even like cash. It's like a Bending Branches paddle, a GoPro, it's still great prizes. We're just talking about this final tiebreaker, but it's only to incentivize you guys out there, which you can get an action camera for like $50. You know what I'm saying? Like a used action camera or these cheapos that you see on Timo or wherever. It doesn't have to be a GoPro, and GoPro is not even that expensive. It's $179 for that new Hero. It's not expensive, but this is to protect all you guys. Every incentive we can do to get you guys and give you more to encourage the filming. we're going to do that because all that does is protect the situations you've seen circulating in the kayak fishing world right now. It's to protect everybody involved in that situation. Because does it look good for the series? No. Does it look good for kayak fishing? No. Does it look good for the angler? No. It looks good for nobody. Because one day, the sport at the elite level, whenever there is an elite level that's actually truly like all they're doing is full-time fishing, they're 100% they'll be filmed. The fish will not count unless they're on video. All we want to do is incentivize that to the best we can. That's why we're not going to make it like you have to film or the winner and tiebreakers in the actual tournament. The 5 fish are broken with who filmed it. Just the big bass award, which is the GoPro Big Bass. That's like, the award title. So it kind of makes sense to have it filmed and let that be one of the tiebreakers. But there's good odds that both people or all 3 people, if there's 3 ties, will film in this series. And we'll have to go to the actual next biggest fish on the stringer to award that GoPro Big Bass anyway. So I get what you're saying, Mark, but we got to get used to understanding this is actually to help benefit you guys from being cheated out of, forget this, losing this one possibly tiebreaker of a GoPro. What about losing $10,000 or $5,000 or $8,000 because somebody cheated you guys out of it? So if we had it on film, the majority of all cheating goes away. Now, we'll never be able to know, did that person pay for that waypoint or buy it after the time they were allowed to do that or not, and things like that. There's certain things like that the GoPro, but we can at least know they caught the fish from cast to catch. It's a solution to this sport, and not just kayak fishing, but bass boat fishing in the future. It'll be the way it's all done in the future. Like it's not, we're not far from that. Because if you can buy an $80,000 bass boat, I promise you, you can afford $100, $179 GoPro or some action camera and a Naqua battery pack to hardwire it to validate the entire sport, the entire field, all the catches. So it's not that hard. So don't tell me, like, people that want to complain about that. It's like, you're spending how much on all these other electronics and all these other rods, reels, boats, everything. I mean, I would much rather have to do that than be cheated from somebody who is going to take advantage of, well, no one's out there. It's not like golf where your competitors are at least right there next to you. So you're not going to just blatantly pick up the ball and move it out of the rough into the fairway because you got competitors there. That's not the case. You could go find water somewhere where no one else is. So this is the way to incentivize it. It's crazy not to film in the series, to move your payout from $6,000 to $10,000 just by running that camera behind you is insanity if you're not doing it this year. And we're just trying to, incentivize that for you guys. So I'll get off my high horse about that, but I do get your point, Mark. It's a very, very good comment, and I get it, but I'm just, I still think that one day we're going to look back at moving around fish in live wells and bass boats like we look at smoking on airplanes today. I really do. We're going to look back at that one day and think, wow, we actually did that. It just wasn't good for the fish. It made it more expensive, more difficult, caused a lot of, problems. There's culling infractions, all the stuff that never has to come and play with catch photo release on a measuring board. So anyway, yeah, well, listen, Sven's got his same thing. Hopefully you heard what I said, Sven. It's not required equipment. Hey, here's the thing. People also can just not fish the event. If that's like going to be a serious problem where you think I might lose a tiebreaker because I'm not going to film and somebody else is, then, I mean, obviously you can just obviously not fish the event, but it's not like it's determining the actual winner of the event. It's just the GoPro Big Bass. There's a lot of places that don't even have a big brass prize, or it's very minimal. This is a very minimal. We're talking about a prize, not even cash, Big Bass prize. So it's just another little way we can say it pays to film in KAS, and not even KAS. As you've seen with the other series, as you saw when I got protested in my event at Bassmaster, I was able to show my footage. So it validated, like how I got around the trees and under and around and through the skinny water. It just proved that, hey, this is what I did. I never got out of my kayak. It saved my butt. It made sure that tournament was the right outcome occurred. So that's all we're saying. We don't want anyone to get cheated out of anything. So the more we can incentivize you guys to film, the better for you. For you, the better, for sure. As we've seen in other series, not just this series. I mean, any series, go film everything. Everything. Makes no sense not to, because I would never want my character questioned or people to, at least you could be able to show footage that, oh, no, I actually caught that fish twice or whatever, happens. So, all right, guys, I think that's it.
Yep.
Let's see some more comments here. Yeah, here we go. I mean, JT's saying, heck, Christine started filming just to prove to clowns she was catching her own fish. Absolutely. There's no, I get it, man. It's filming is for some people, it's like foreign or it's new. They don't want to deal with it. You don't have to film. No one's saying you have to film. It's not going to determine the outcome.
I mean, even when you do film, you still run into clowns,
Yeah.
It's like clowns are going to happen even if you aren't filming, but then you do film and you show the fish, you show your measuring, you show your weighing it, they'll still be clowns. But at least this gives you that, like, mic drop is the way you can describe it. Like, look, here it is. And they'll still have something to say, but at least you're in the clear.
Exactly. You're in the clear. And again, not the event, just to clarify, just the big bass prize is all it is. So, but it's not just that, really. If you film and you win the event, it moves your payout from whatever it would have been to $10,000 for the GoPro guarantee, or $7,500 for the events that are $7,500. So a lot of benefits to filming. Not even if none of that was involved, the GoPro guarantees, the big bass tiebreaker, even if none of that existed, filming it just so that your character and that, you know what I mean, knowing that the tournament is legit, it validates everything. Even that is just worth it, just alone, just that. So I would encourage it. It will be the future of the way it's done for sure. And our sport will never be seen as legitimate or valid to other people on the outside or other sports until at the elite level, until that's probably the way it's going to be done. It just continues to happen. Things continue to happen on the boat side, on the kayak side. It just keeps happening where if we just had the footage, no one's character would be in question. None of the leagues question or their intention would be in question. Nothing would be questioned. And if you caught like we're using this same fish example, obviously, but if you've caught it twice, which obviously does happened to Lance Cooley 3 times last year in 3 tournaments, 3 times, then you could at least show that you caught it from cast to catch and you weren't trying to whatever, like pull something over or whatever. So anyway, yeah, I was going to say one last thing, Jake, that I did. The last thing I was going to say is the Native Power Hour has announced their schedule. We teamed up with them. We couldn't announce it when we added the Susky 5 Slamma Jamma event in August. We couldn't announce it, but I actually worked with the Native Power Hour guys, with Vinny and Tyler from Big Adventures, the whole team over there. And we decided that it would be best because we knew that they were probably going to do a Susky event. They were looking at a different date. And we said, you know what? How cool would it be if we just had this one big joint event? Because Bloomsburg, when we talked to them, they wanted to give us the entire fairgrounds in their city with the camping and all that. So we can all camp and hang out, electricity, water, all that, primitive and, hookups all in one location. I was like, how cool of a giant event would that be? A cool festival. Because I've always thought about the Power Hour and how their format doesn't conflict with our format at all. It's actually, they kind of help each other. It's kind of cool because you can win every hour now with them, and then you're still going to win, and you can win with the most.
Yeah, I kind of want to fish that event myself.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting because I'm never going to fish KAS, obviously. I don't, nothing against, like, I'm not calling out like a Boyd Duckett or anyone in Major League Fishing who like makes the rules and helps run the series and whatever that fishes it. But I just don't ever want that ever to question, like, oh, you make the boundaries and the rules and all that. And, so you're gaining an advantage because you get to choose. I don't want it. But for the Power Hour event on that tournament that weekend, Jake, you guys tell us in the comments, could you and I fish that event, but on the Power Hour side, not the KS side? Could we?
Who knows? Usually I'm too busy.
Thinking hard. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, usually we're definitely too busy on Saturdays. But anyway, it'd be fun to fish it. And John's right. John Rapp, man, hey, you're never going to please everybody. Just do what's best for you and your organization, your sponsors. And we are going to do that for you guys and for us for sure. We want to do what's best for you guys. And that's why we don't want to get stuck in these situations that we just see time after time in our sport where a simple video would have stopped it all, proved it all, and saved you guys and protected you guys. So anyway, I got to run, but I'll catch you guys later. Thanks for joining us, everybody. And we will see you next week. We're going to try to do the Paris Real Fest preview show. They got some weather coming in Texas, so we didn't do it today because of that. And then finally, I am going to Arizona for the Lake Havasu tournament. I'm excited. I'm flying in with Jake Cook. Joe McElroy, thank you so much for driving my kayak and all my stuff across the country for me as I got it to him. I'm excited about that. So I leave next Wednesday. I leave in the evening. We leave at 7. So I believe we can still do our Wednesday live stream at the same time at noon, and we'll preview the Paris Real Fest. I'm excited, guys. Thanks for tuning in, and we will catch you on the next one. Thanks, JT, for that comment, and Marty. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate everyone. Catch you next time. See ya.